On this vote, the yeas are 352, the nays are 65. One present, 2/3 being in the affirmative. The rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without the objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So, earlier today I was outside playing with my dog, and I usually have my phone outside with me. I could play some music, and I sometimes pause to look at my phone, scrolling through timelines, checking out feeds, and responding to messages. On Twitter, as I was scrolling, I came across tweets. Zhao Hongshu, also known as Redno, hits #1 on the US App Store following news of a possible TikTok ban on January 19th. And this was from Popbase. And I was like,
What? What the fuck?
so I was really curious as to what was going on. So I decided to take a deeper look. I initially felt like this could be like a big screw you to the American government because of the ban. And I have to admit, I felt the same way once I read this. It is funny to me though how Congress wanted to ban TikTok due to national security reasons, to keep China from supposedly meddling with the elections, to keep Americans' privacy and security of their data secure from the evil communists of China. All for it to backfire oh so spectacularly. Bro, I have such a boring life and bad credit. There's absolutely nothing to gain from my data. No, same. I went through an OnlyFans phase, and my B-hole is online. Why should I care about data Facebook already stole? Can we just sign a waiver or something to keep it, accept all, and let me move on?
I surrender all my data to China. Here you go, China. In exchange for keeping my TikTok, you can have all my information. Fuck you, US government.
Good job, Congress, especially Republican Congressman from Wisconsin's 8th District, Mike Gallagher. Bravo. Bravo. And this is why you gotta be careful for who you vote for. Wisconsin, 8th District.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck?
So the only way for TikTok to be saved at this point is if ByteDance sold TikTok to anybody from the US who is capable of buying TikTok. The US Supreme Court has signed that they will deny a request by President-elect Donald J. Trump to prevent the ban from the social media app TikTok if it has not sold by its Chinese parent company ByteDance by Sunday, January 19, 2025. ByteDance has stated that they would rather shut down TikTok in the United States instead of selling it to a US company, with it likely that TikTok will be removed from the app stores on Sunday. Oh. I guess to Red Note we go.
Sir, we have a problem.
天下太阳，风呀风通通嘞，心中太阳是矛盾动嘞，长安让我们的今夜半嘞，这一本圣诞节做我们主人，一夜一会有后会有我啊，这一本圣诞节做我主人。
Our U.S. government is trying to ban TikTok.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. Here is why all this is happening in the first place. Yes, I've told you that this is basically due for national security. This is what the government is telling you. These are basically reasons that the government is basically putting in as a blanket statement. They're not saying what the real reason why whatever Congress does. They're basically not saying the real reason is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense? Anyways, what I am speculating is that the real reason and the big bad boogeyman that's pushing TikTok out of the US is APAC. Well, there is a lot of anti-Semitism in the US. They really like shooting themselves in the foot and making themselves the bad guy, which in turn breeds more anti-Semitism, so,
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Nice one, APAC. You're making it worse, is all I'm trying to say. So, why am I speculating APAC is up to all this? Being in the middle of all this, really? Well, it has to do because of this video where Secretary, Binklin? I believe that's his name? He basically participates, well, he does participate in this keynote, I believe, on May 4th, 2024.
Why has the PR been so awful? I know that's not your area of expertise, but you have to have some thoughts on that, which is, I mean, as you've said, why has Hamas disappeared in terms of public perception? An offer is on the table to have a ceasefire, and yet the world is screaming about Israel. It's like, why aren't they screaming about Hamas? Accept the ceasefire, bring home the hostages. It's said it's all the other way around. I mean, typically the Israelis are good at PR. What's happened here? How have they and we been so ineffective at communicating the realities there and our point of view?
Well, look, I think there are two things. One is that, look, there is an inescapable reality, and that is the inescapable reality of people who have and continue to suffer grievously in Gaza, and that's real, and we have to be focused on that and attend to that. At the same time, how this narrative has evolved, yeah, it's a great question. I don't have a good answer to that. One can speculate about what some of the causes might be. I don't know. I can tell you this, and we were talking about this a little bit over dinner with Cindy. I think in my time in Washington, which is a little bit over 30 years, the single biggest change has been in the information environment. And when I started out in the early 1990s, everyone did the same thing. You woke up in the morning, you opened the door of your apartment, your house, you picked up a hard copy of the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal. And then if you had a television in your office, you turned it on at 6:30 or 7 o'clock and watched the national network news. Now, of course, we are on an intravenous feed of information with new impulses, inputs every millisecond. And of course, the way this is played out on social media has dominated the narrative. And you have a social media ecosystem environment in which context, history, facts get lost, and the emotion, the impact of images dominates. And we can't discount that. But I think it also has a very, very, very challenging effect on the narrative.
Yeah, a small parenthetical point, which is some wonder why there was such overwhelming support for us to shut down potentially TikTok or other entities of that nature. If you look at the postings on TikTok and the number of mentions of Palestinians relative to other social media sites, it's overwhelmingly so among TikTok broadcast. So I'd note that's of real interest, and the president will get the chance to make action in that regard.
And that right there is the real reason. Plain as day, out in the open, a lot of our politicians are bought out by super PACs and corporations for their own agendas. Not for you, not for me, not for us. Play by play, I can tell you. Hey, you're a good little bitch, are you? Going to do everything I say, cause like me, you like power. So here's what I want you to do, or else you could pack your shit and get out of Congress. We're gonna send you a bill. One you can look over. You're going to sponsor it, put it on the House floor, get it passed. And don't worry about the votes, I bought most of Congress already and the Senate. But this will get passed, cause I want TikTok fucking gone. It's making us look bad and exposing our collusion to Israel. Get it done. Oh, and of course this guy was definitely bought by APAC. So TikTok is a massive platform that multi-millions of Americans use as their main source of entertainment and news. It's somewhat a decentralized network. Kind of. Sort of. But it does have a lot of information and disinformation on it. But there is, a lot of information on that does interfere with special interests, like political parties, super PACs like APAC, and billionaires and so on. it's seen as a big issue towards them. And I'm sure many of you have seen what's really been going on in Gaza. How Palestinians are being murdered from the rockets sent from the Israel military. How the US is giving so much aid, funding to Israel. Basically, our government is supporting and abiding in other governments' genocide. But of course, our own government, the United States, can't be bothered with how you have healthcare in the US, Americans' crumbling infrastructure, climate change, income inequality. No. They cannot be bothered by those things. They cannot tackle real issues, can they? No. We gotta ban TikTok. That's the real problem. The ban didn't have to happen. Before the eyes of the rich and powerful, it had to. But what does us Americans do? Move on to another app. Of course, Rednote or Little Red Book. It's pretty amazing how many Americans migrating from TikTok to Little Red Book. Practically everyone from TikTok, and the interactions is taking place. This fusion is just so fucking beautiful.
Dong, he wants to be friends. I want to be friends too.
This is posted by an American user. They're like, what are your thoughts on Americans trying to use this app? Be honest. This Chinese person was like, I admit, when I sleep, you use it. When you sleep, I use it.
To all the Americans that are here from TikTok, be good. Behave. They are being so nice to us and welcoming us here. Don't mess this up for us.
Hello, a big welcome for my refugee friends. Welcome to Rednote.
Luca! Bueno! Piyu! Bueno!
It's amazing too, how Americans can give a big fuck you to the American government and those who have a lot of the power. Billionaires, APAC, super PACs.
You can use your millions of dollars, your lizard charm, to successfully convince dinosaurs like Nancy Pelosi to sit up in Congress and be like, tic-tac-toe, a winner. But that means I also have the freedom for these next 7 days to show people how ridiculous you are.
So now that we've officially forced ourselves into Chinese virtual territory, I think it's only fair that we open the floor to some discussion. So any questions you have for Americans, feel free to ask.
Oh god.
So, China, you won. At least you won this one. Celebrate, I suppose. And for anyone calling me a communist, which I'm pretty sure some people are gonna do, it's fine, but I'm really not communist. If anything, I call myself more of a democratic socialist. Progressive, if you may. But communism is beating capitalism at this point. I mean, come on. Have you seen China's high-speed rail system? It's fucking awesome.